Hey, Damashe, how's it going?
Man, they killed the Mac Pro. It's all over.
What? What?
You didn't hear this?
No.
So Apple has confirmed with I forget the outlet, Mac somebody, not Mac Stories. It's one of those Mac publications I don't really read. But anyway, yeah, the Mac Pro is gone. It's out of here.
Oh, hold on.
I was like, Mike is really taking a long time to think about the Mac Pro, man. It ain't that serious.
Why did they kill it? Is it because all the reliance is on the M processors now, and they're not going to put one in the MacBook Pro? I mean, in the Mac Pro.
Now you're asking me to pontificate or something because Apple didn't tell anybody why they did a thing. My guess though is they have not yet satisfactorily developed a chip, and they may not be able to, that makes the Mac Pro as it existed in the case that it was necessary. Because the big selling point for the Mac Pro has always been, if we skip over those years, we had the little trash can Mac. Like, we're not going to talk about that one. It was there. It was a thing they did. It was a mistake. But outside of the trash can Mac Pro, the benefit and the usefulness for a Mac Pro for people who will purchase those is expandability. It was much more modular. I want to say, and I could be wrong, so if there's an old Mac person out there that wants to correct us, you can do so. But I believe even in the earlier days when it first released, I think its original release was 2006. I want to say that you were able to, within some constraints of chip compatibility, you were able to update your processor. So let's say you bought it with the current generation Intel chip, but you bought the one with 15 cores, and then later on you wanted to upgrade. You would have to stay, I believe, in that same chip family, but you could go buy one that had additional cores and swap it out.
Right.
You were always able to upgrade RAM. You were always able to swap hard drives, and you had multiple slots for hard drives. So that is the big selling, has always been the biggest selling point for the Mac Pro. In my mind, at least. It's the reason I consider trying to buy one. Like, I thought about buying a older cheese grater Mac Pro after the trash can came out. And I was like, oh man, I could put a bunch of discs in it. It would cool very well because it's got a giant fan. This would be awesome. And then I really couldn't find one that was at a price that I could afford it 13 years ago. I was like, no, maybe not. So they re-released, or I would say they updated the Mac Pro in 2019, and that's when they kind of went back to that big body, because the trash can, for people who don't know what I mean by trash cans, like, they had this little Mac Pro that basically looked like a trash can, sort of. Like one of those little small office trash cans that you like, people have tucked under their desk or right beside their desk, one of those. Like, it was kind of like that height, and it was meant to be set on your desk. The traditional Mac Pro really is not meant to be on your desk. That is a tower computer that you want to put on the floor or on something else other than your main working surface. So the trash can Mac Pro was very small, meant to be put on the desk. It was beautiful, of course. It was gorgeous. It looked
Everyone
great.
loved it.
Well, everyone loved how it looked. But the problem is it didn't have any real expandability except perhaps the RAM. And their Apple, them being Apple's pitch for this was, well, you can just use the Thunderbolt to add expansion. So if you want a better GPU, you can plug in an external GPU. More storage, you just plug in additional storage, right? And the biggest issue with that strategy, well, in addition to the fact that as a somewhat fastidious person, even though you can't tell that by looking at my desk right now, I don't like a ton of crap hanging off my computer.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people feel that way. I'm not the only person that feels that way. But I don't like, oh, I need more storage. Let me just plug in extra storage, right? In addition to that being somewhat of an issue, it had heat dissipation problems because of how they designed it. The airflow wasn't good enough to keep the GPU and CPU cooled up under very heavy load. You have people whose Mac Pros would just shut down in the middle of them doing something because it overheated. And if you go there is somewhere, I don't remember, but you probably could get an LLM to look it up for you or do some very good search querying and find episodes. Huh?
I said, or make something up.
No, you can no. So you can find episodes, and I don't know if it was which particular shows of Twits, but it was either Twit or like Mac Break Weekly or somewhere in there where Leo was talking about these experiences himself because he bought one. Mm. That's actually during the time when Twit, amongst a lot of other studios that were doing a lot of heavy video editing, that was during the time a lot of people transitioned over to using either custom built Windows machines. And in some cases, for certain companies, they went over to custom built Linux boxes to run particular software because that trash can was not very well thermally built. So I want to give people that context for what I mean when I say trash can. Like that's how most people that are Apple enthusiasts at the least would refer to that computer as a trash can.
Right.
2019. Just a quick side note, so nobody writes in to correct it. So at some point, and I don't remember the year, Apple released the iMac Pro. This, in theory, was viewed to potentially be Apple's answer to the trash can. Like, oh, we'll just give you all-in-one that has a giant fan and runs, the same chipsets. Traditionally, the Mac Pro in the iMac Pro, when it's one generation. That's a one generation computer. They made one. They didn't make any more after that. There was not an update to it. It just disappeared. They run the Intel server level chips. So like the Xenons, and their RAM is always error correcting RAM, which I got a whole feeling about why everybody should actually have that. But that being said, basically look at a Mac Pro like it was Apple's version of a server in a sense, but it was meant to be bought by individuals or companies, not put in a data center in Dubai or something and then get bombed. Never mind. I didn't say that part.
Put in a data server.
So iMac Pro was out there for a little while. Again, companies, users who really depended on the Mac Pro for their workflows were not happy with that as a solution. Again, it wasn't user upgradable, and it's all in one. So like if, you're having one of those days where nothing just ain't going right and somebody, does something, blah, 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 you crack your screen, now your whole computer's gone. Whereas, with a Mac Pro, with a modular setup, if somebody cracks a screen or something, well, you just go buy another monitor. But your computer still works over there in the corner chugging along. So anyway, 2019, they come out with a new Mac Pro. It's very well designed. I admittedly did. Yeah, I lusted after it. And I even tried to justify reasons for trying to get one. But it was back to the expandable model because they were still on the Intel at that point. Now, I don't think you could easily user service the CPU, but it had built-in slots for swapping out GPUs. You could run multiple GPUs. You could put in multiple hard drives of differing types. Had a giant fan to keep it cool. Really nice computer. It was back to kind of the traditional Mac Pro, what it looked like when it originally came out from a user standpoint. Apple even had a custom chip, which I remember us talking about this at some point. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I remember telling you about that custom, and I forget what they called it now. But they had like a custom chip that was Apple branded that they were going to continue iterating over. But the initial release of that little custom piece of hardware that was in the Mac Pro was designed to help speed up audio work. So like rendering and effects processing and things like that. You remember this? Mark's like vaguely.
I don't remember this conversation.
Okay. We had it, and it was one conversation. We didn't linger on it because, we were like, I was like, we'll see if they continue actually upgrading it. And plus, maybe it'll trickle down to other machines at some point because neither one of us is going to buy a Mac Pro. I mean, they started
it the beginning of the M processor, do you think?
No.
This
Couldn't. No. I don't think that was the beginning of that. I think maybe it could have been a part of that work, possibly. that they were like, oh, we can build custom hardware that can go into a more powerful computer. Because I'm pretty sure at that point, there were several people running around with M-chip MacBooks and stuff. So, but yeah, I think it may have been a portion. I could have came off of that work. So it sat there. 2020 happens, and it happens, and then we get the first Apple Silicon computers, which were the MacBook Air, the 13-inch MacBook Pro with Touch Bar, and the Mac Mini, which I still have sitting over there. Well, not over there, but a couple of rooms over there. Then they dropped the Mac Studio in 22. And there's no update to the Mac Pro to run Apple Silicon. And people go like, well, there's a lot of speculation. Like, is the Mac Studio supposed to replace that? But the name didn't indicate that was the case. Like, they still got room for a Mac Pro at the top. And the consensus from a lot of people is that Apple was working on this super chip, like that would be bigger than the Ultra, faster than the Ultra, that would go into a future Mac Pro. And I've always said and felt that the biggest holdup is like, I don't want to pay you $7,000, which is about where the Mac Pro started at, and going up from there to put a chip into just a huge giant box that, I can put all my hard drives in that box, and then they're not unsightly all over the place with cables running everywhere. But at $7,000, like, I could buy a Mac Studio and then just buy an enclosure to sit it on top of or something, and that'll look just as clean. And I don't know if the Apple never got to that chip, because the biggest thing with Apple Silicon is that all of the stuff is on one chip, right? The CPU, the GPU, which is the graphics processor, and the RAM is all a part of one package. So it's all together. So that's why when you buy a computer, pick the RAM you want, because there is no process for you to really go upgrade that later. And that's why their SKUs look so weird sometimes. It's like, and I think for a Mac Pro to continue to exist, people are going to want to be able to, and they're going to feel that they should be able to upgrade their RAM, or they should be able to add in, an additional NVIDIA GPU when they finally come down to a price that they can afford. Well, not NVIDIA. Apple doesn't really support NVIDIA. Who's the other graphics card maker? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But anyway.
Either. But yeah. But because, Apple doesn't know best for everyone, and people who are professionals want to customize their experience.
Well, I think my true feeling about this is that Apple thought they could figure out a way to do this, and they haven't. Either they haven't been able to do it, or they haven't been able to do it in a satisfactory manner. Because the one advantage to Apple Silicon and the ARM chip maker, is it Qualcomm for Windows right now? I think it's the only one actually making ARM chips. One advantage to those chip designs and having the RAM be on the same, be bundled into the same package with your GPU and CPU is your RAM throughput is a whole lot faster. Your GPU usage, like you basically have one big giant pool of RAM. So your graphics processor is not just subject to the way that most graphic cards are made. Is like they have their own set of RAM that is specific to them. Well, if you got a 64 gig or 36 gig RAM computer, your CPU and GPU both have access to that same RAM. And because they're on the same little package, the speed to which data gets transferred is much faster than it will ever be if your RAM is separate from that bundle and has to go, through linkages to go from the chip to the RAM, back to the chip to the hard drive. So I think the reason that they've not ever done it, now they did in 23 update the Mac Pro to just throw in the, at the time, M2 Ultra chip. But again, you could add more hard drives, but basically you were just paying for a big box that you could put hard drives in versus buy a Mac Studio and connecting hard drives externally. And I don't think they can get past the fact that that unified memory architecture that they have with Apple Silicon cannot be, they probably could figure out a way for you to connect external RAM, but it would never be as fast.
Right.
So you would lose a lot of the benefits at that point, I think, because you would see it go back down to, you would see Apple Silicon performance for a lot of cases go back down to, if not even potentially worse than what some of the best Intel chips could do. And I think they just kind of painted themselves into a corner. And at this point, they're like, you know what? Screw it. We'll kill it because we can't create the thing that we want to create at the level that it needs to be. So no more Mac Pro. There's just a Mac Studio. And you can get it with up to, well, it used to be 512. Now it's 256 gigs of RAM. Although I think they started cutting those SKUs out because they're about to release a M5 version of the Studio, which I'm waiting on patiently. Not necessarily because I'm going to buy that, but because I really want to look at the Mac Mini because, that's the thing. So there we are, the Mac Pro. It is no longer a product in Apple's lineup.
Well, I did not expect to talk about that today.
Yeah, so I really didn't expect to talk about it either. I just was listening to DTNS a little earlier, and that was their lead story, and I was like, oh, so that's why I started the show with that. I really didn't expect you to even ask a question about why they did this. I didn't expect it to go there.
Well, I'm glad I did. I had an opportunity to take my headphones off, run and grab something real quick.
Oh, man.
So, what are you recording on tonight? I am back out in the garage. It's been forever since I've been in the garage, so I don't know if you can tell any sort of noise profile change at all in here, but it should be less reverby.
I was going to say, I noticed less reverb for sure.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm super happy about that because I was listening to our podcast earlier this week, and I'm like, man, now I see why Damashe was complaining about reverb on his end. It sounds bad when you got reverb. So
yeah, it's awful.
My solution was to come out to the garage, and now I have we reorganized. Well, last time Mallory was home, we reorganized some of the stuff, and my desk got full of stuff. Because you know how it goes. When you reorganize, you just throw stuff in a place.
You got to put stuff somewhere while you're moving it around. Yeah, I know exactly how that works.
So earlier this week,
while my desk looks the way it looks.
Part of our reorganization, though, was to give me a carpet out here, and carpet makes a big difference. Well, it's like a little rug that we put underneath the desk and underneath the chair, and then filled up the desk. So this week I cleaned off the desk, and now I am going directly into the Vocaster using that mic stand you sent me, and going into the Vocaster, which is plugged into that OWC dock Mallory bought me 3 years ago for Christmas that I think you and her chatted about. And then, headphones are plugged into the Vocaster, and everything's plugged into the MacBook Pro. And, that's what I was going to say. And I'm using an MX keys again, because I haven't been using the MX keys, and I miss this keyboard.
You feel better, don't you?
I do. It's a loud keyboard, though. It can be loud when you're typing on it. Well, when I'm typing on it, because I anger type. I don't know about you, but I subconsciously anger type.
Well, it may not even be anger typing, but there's an aggressiveness to it sometimes for me. And like sometimes there's a very satisfactory thing about just smashing a return key. Like,
yes.
I'm not angry about anything. It was like I just sat here and typed all this out. Return. I just sent that. I sent the hell out of that.
I was thinking earlier today while playing with the Raspberry Pi in terminal, and I typed a command and I hit enter, and I just hit it with that satisfaction. I'm like, the MacBook Pro has the best enter key.
It really does. That is a good observation. I've noticed that often too. Like just the return key or the enter key on the MacBook Pros on the Mac laptop keyboards is really good. And like it's weird to think about a specific key.
Right.
But I think the return key and their arrow keys are really good.
Yeah.
The rest of the keyboard, I'm kind of, whatever. Like I can type on just about anything.
But that return key and the arrow key, I would say the return key for sure. I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of the arrow keys, but I mean, they're arrow keys. Like the enter key for me, though.
Yeah, I think the reason I like their arrow keys is not that they're like super spectacular or anything. It's just that they're consistently going to be that way.
Yes.
There are keyboards where, you get a split key in the middle for up and down, and then giant keys compared to the size of those on the left and right. It's like, I hate that layout. I don't like it. But that's why so many keyboards exist in the world. Because people have opinions and feelings.
Do you have a Keychron?
I bought a keyboard. Wow. No, I don't have it yet because it just left
Hold that thought for a second.
Hong Kong.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back. I know, cat. I'm taking you. So you just bought you bought one, huh? Have you been listening to Double Tap?
No, but mine, it just left Hong Kong today, so I have not gotten it yet. But it's funny because I was just about to say, like, speaking of keyboards, like I did order a keyboard. It's a Keychron. It is the Keychron folding keyboard.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we'll see what I think about it. I was gonna ping Steven about it when I ordered it, and I was like, well, let me wait till he gets here, and then I'll tell him what I think, because maybe he shouldn't buy it. I know he has a keyboard problem.
He has one of the newer ones, and him and Sean actually bought one, and they apparently have a volume knob on them.
Okay, so that's not the one I have, but that one actually is on. Keychron is actually having a sale on a ton of their keyboards right now. The one that I bought is a brand new released keyboard, so it's not on sale and it's not eligible for their 10% coupon that they offer you when you go to their website.
Oh.
But it is a folding keyboard, and I've been looking for that. It sounded from reading about their description, I was like, oh, I'm willing to give it a try. And I was going to tell Steven about it, and I said, no, let me wait, because I know he has a keyboard problem. So I could have told him about it. He would not have done the wise thing and said, oh, well, since you've ordered one, let me know what you think about it when you get it, mate. And he was like, oh, bought it. It was like, man, but what if it sucks, dude? Like, hold on. Because it's got like some weird, external, covering going on. Like, just wait till I get it, and I'll tell you if you should buy it or not. So if I rave about it, then everybody should go buy it. If you never hear me speak of it again,
then
just know it's somewhere on my desk.
Buried in everything else.
Right. It's under a dot pad, probably, is what's going to happen to it.
If you're not using
on top of the Orbit that's over here on the far corner of my desk that I was supposed to get keycaps for, and that conversation petered out. I should restart that conversation.
You should.
But I want to go back to the recording thing because, one, you said a few things that were very important. I think people should think about this as you are considering getting into recording or just trying to improve your recording. You don't always have to go buy a new microphone. Yeah, I do have I don't have that bad of a problem. I mean, Mike bought the SM7B. Like, I never bought that microphone. But anyway, Mike said they put down a rug. Rugs do help if you're on hardwood, if you're on hard surfaces. Just a rug under the area where you're recording is going to be tremendous. Putting a little padding or something up behind the direction that you're facing, especially if you're like me at the moment where I'm facing directly at a wall because my desk is now up against the wall. Used to be, my back was against the wall and the back of the desk like it was facing the length of this room that I'm in. So the reverb was had much further to travel, which means you typically didn't get those reflections. But a rug helps. If you're in a room that has a rug, you still want, more softer things around. So for a lot of people, that is why the closet is a popular place. I'm not telling people that you should just start recording in your closet unless your closet is conducive to that. That is actually one of the best home recording studios a person could have, is a closet with tons of clothes hanging in them. Again, if your closet is conducive, like you have enough space, or unless you're me or Mike and you're very serious about your show and your audio quality, because Mike has done some weird stuff and I have done some weird stuff to get the best sounding audio, or at least keep our audio relatively consistent, and not have a lot of background noise. Mike recorded with blankets on his head for years. Well, probably not years, but a ton of episodes.
Yes. DM series.
Yeah.
I think I'll find it here because I have access to the Pinecast account. But if you go look up the DM series, there's an episode there that Damashe will remember, and I'll mention it here in a second because I think I know the number, but I don't want to, throw that out there and it being, wait. Oh, that is how you do it. Okay. I was about to complain. I was going to be like, wait, you can't look at previous episodes when you finish a show in Pinecast, but I figured it out. But there is, where is it? Anyways, yeah. Good.
So there's that. I've recorded in closets before. I think when we first started when we first started the DM series, I think I was recording tutorials for a different job in my closet as well. Well, that was a pretty nice closet though. Like it had shelves. I could put the laptop on a shelf, clip the mic stand to the shelf, and I had to stand up more than sit down because there wasn't quite enough room for that. But it was a good recording setup. But yeah, just putting softer things around so you get less reflectivity. Like I sound horrible. I can hear the reverb now because the only thing soft in here outside of myself is the rug on the floor. Like my padding came off the wall, and I haven't put it back up because I got to figure out a way to try to make it stick. I think I need to maybe slice it kind of in half, like through its middle because it might be a little too thick because I cut up a former king size mattress pad to make audio padding. And it probably doesn't need to be quite as thick as it is. But those are, other tips for improving audio where it doesn't matter how expensive the microphone or the interface that you're using is. If your recording environment is terrible, due to like a lot of reflections and stuff, it's going to make it worse. It's one of the reasons I personally don't like the, what is that mic that I hate? The Blue Yeti. It's not really that it's a terrible mic. It's that it is best used in a somewhat treated or at least very well considered recording space. And most people just stick it on top of their kitchen table in their kitchen and use it, and it's horrible for that. The mic that I'm on now, which is the Beta 87A, is pretty good at rejecting room noise. It's not going to, fix extremely terrible problems like the ones I'm facing right now, but those are just a few things to consider. Again, I still recommend something like, that's why people like dynamic mics. They're pretty good at rejecting off-axis noise. And that's one reason I and Mike and several other 1,000 people love the Beta 87A, because you get a better, much warmer representation of your voice. It doesn't sound as harsh. It doesn't sound muddied, which some dynamic mics can be. Mm-hmm. You get a very warm sound. If you listen to the episodes where I was recording, I'm going to actually record next week's episode with the dynamic mic using the same interface that I'm using. So there'll be kind of a direct one-to-one comparison. I've been trying to do that. But at any rate, just a few tips there. I am on the Beta 87A because I didn't take it off the arm. But I'm now using what I would say, depending on your use case and needs, might be the next step up interface wise from the Vocaster. If the Vocaster 1 or 2 serves your purposes, I still would recommend the 2 over the 1 if you can get them at very close prices as they were when we last spoke about it. That is a good setup. Mike has traveled with his Vocaster somewhat extensively, I would guess. More than I traveled with mine. I don't think I ever took mine. I took mine in one place. I took it to Houston once and got there and realized I didn't have the freaking cable to connect it to the computer. No, I didn't have a XLR cable is what I didn't have. When I got there, I was like, oh, well, this is going to be great. Can't connect the microphone with no XLR cable. What I'm recording on today is the P4 Next. And we've talked extensively about this audio interface. We even talked about it a little bit with Chris also. So I won't belabor the interface itself. What I would say for this being a step up from the Vocaster for you have 4 microphone inputs. So if you're going to be recording or potentially recording with multiple people, or you want to be able to plug in different devices, because I will remind people that XLR to 3.5 mil cables are a thing. Independent gain knobs for everybody's, for each channel of audio going in. One thing that makes this a step up, we're recording in Zoom, but I'm also currently backup recording myself. So I'm recording myself. If you're recording in person with multiple people, or you're recording demos or anything like that with other devices connected, that you can record multiple tracks. So that helps for backup purposes, or just to be the way that you record. It can be powered off of batteries, which the Vocaster cannot. So theoretically, if you were in person with your co-hosts or guests, or you're recording a demo of another device that is being plugged in, you could do all of that on this without it being connected to a USB device. Like, you wouldn't need to bring a laptop into that situation if you could not or did not want to. So that's why it is a somewhat of a step up. Like the Vocaster does have the ability to plug in a device using a aux cable. So you could also do a phone interview, for example, or, like I said, tutorials, just on this device without bringing a computer into it at all. Unlike the Vocaster, it does use a 3.5 millimeter or 1/8 inch, depending on how you choose your measurements, headphone connector. So typically, and I'm going to say this way, because we will talk about headphones. We've talked about headphones. We will talk about headphones, but typically, most studio headphones that I purchase have always come with a 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter, or 3.5 millimeter to, you know what, I don't even know what the millimeters are for that big one. So we'll stick with inches today. 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter, which is what I was using to plug it into the Vocaster, what I use to plug into my normal interface. But you can take that off, and then now it's just a standard headphone plug, and I can plug these wonderful, excellent AKGs into anything. So that's kind of the pitch for you do have some onboard stuff. Wait, I don't think you guys are going to hear this, because I'm only pulling from one channel, so I won't even push the button. You do have the ability, if your show is more like double tap, and I mean that in the sense of like they play sounds in and
Right.
do a lot of stuff like that. You have sound pads that you can configure, that can be configured on the device. If you like, I could record audio onto the SD card, and I think from the record directly onto a sound pad and make that whatever I recorded be the sound pad button. So that is there. You have a mute button, which is excellent. I think mute buttons are amazing because they're very useful, because it hears me talking.
Yep.
It also mutes you on your headphones, which is great because then you know you're muted. It does have phantom power, so you can turn that on and off.
It is phantom power to all of the mic inputs at
That's
once.
what I was about to say. Like, unlike certain interfaces that you may use, when you turn phantom power on here, it is on for everything. So even if another mic or device doesn't need it, it's getting it anyway. I think that's all I have to kind of say about the interface itself. 2 AA batteries is what it runs on. It does have 2 USB-C ports. Depending on the cable you choose to use is what we figured out. Go back and listen to the episode. I don't know. Find the episode about Zoom P4 next. Talk more about it. And then the follow-up episode where I make corrections, especially about the whole cable situation. But yeah, this is a good portable solution. I will say, from a professional audio level, there's one thing that I didn't think I would actually care about that I do care about. It's not a deal breaker for me. Like, I still like this as a device. I still think it has its uses. But one thing I don't like about it, and I've come not to like this about any audio interface that's kind of portable, is it does not have locking XLR ports. And that means when you plug in your XLR cable, it could be, in theory, yanked out by somebody stepping on a cable if you're running a run. Other recorders or other audio interfaces that I have locking things. So that means if somebody steps on your cable, they're going to yank the whole thing off the desk. But hey, you didn't lose your audio. So your live stream can continue while somebody frantically scrambles on the floor to pick up the audio interface.
Well, your live stream can continue as long as, when it gets yanked off of the desk, the USB-C doesn't get pulled out.
The USB-C cable doesn't come out. Yeah.
Come on, Zoom. We need locking USB-C cables too.
Well, actually, I think that might actually be more of a, computer manufacturer thing is what we need. Like, or somebody figure that out though, because that is the point. But yeah, so that's what I'm recording on today. No auto gain though. That is a feature that I do really like about the Vocaster. That I feel is handy. But you do have a big, huge knob that you can tweak. I won't mess with it now because apparently my levels are decent, so there's no reason to mess with perfection, I guess. One more thing I'm gonna say, and then we'll be done with the P4. And I only just thought about this because I put my finger on the little connectors on the side. The Mike made a good point that the Vocaster 2 has Bluetooth, so that allows you to use that in different ways for connecting devices in. The P4 Next supports Bluetooth if you buy an additional adapter. It does not come with it. You have to buy it separately. And I want to say it is around let's say somewhere between $35 and $50. And I'm giving such a broad range because one, I think I managed to catch the one that I bought on sale, and two, who knows what prices look like since I last bought it because, terrorists and wars and stuff, and things and AI and all of that. Because, they're taking up all the chip capacity. All the manufacturing capacity is focused on building stuff for AI. So, there's that. But that's it, I think.
So,
you can't control it with your phone.
If you have the Bluetooth adapter.
If you have the Bluetooth adapter,
yes. So I want to transition topics to make it somewhat, and I'm sure we have more, but we might wrap up in the near future as well because we're coming up on an hour, I think. But I haven't even looked at audio.
See what happens when you ask about the Mac Pro, man. This is what happens.
Man, I know. Are
you going to chat?
We're still good. We're only at 40:26. We still got 20 minutes. So, Chad, did you read his email?
I did read Chad's email.
Good.
Oh, I need to check that off on my to-do list. I forgot to check it off, though.
Oh, let's do that conversation real quick. So, anyone who follows me on
Chad.
Yeah, we'll get to you, Chad. But I got to talk about this for a minute, and you'll understand why. You might even be able to relate, Chad. We'll come back to you. And by the way, thank you for letting us use your name. So you're not just an anonymous person, Chad. So I went to DC.
Mike really doesn't like when people say don't use my name.
Just saying, we are acknowledging when people say you can use our name. We'll use your name as much as we need to, Chad. I went to DC and then I went to CSUN, and it was a great adventure. I also was working my way through my Todoist tasks. Not anytime, but often I would just randomly post 80 days, your longest streak. And people would ask me on Mastodon, what's that mean? And I would tell them that it's Todoist and I was doing my longest streak and all this type of stuff. I got home from CSUN and marked something off on Saturday, marked something off on Sunday, and don't know what the heck I did on Monday because Tuesday I went and marked something off and it's like, congratulations, one more than yesterday. I'm like, oh no. And then I went and I looked and saw that my longest streak, I'm on a 1-day streak, and my longest streak was 114 days. And I don't remember, did I text that to you or how did you find out? I think I did just text that phrase to you.
No, I don't think you texted me the phrase. You just texted me about it.
Okay.
And it was after you were back, actually.
Yeah.
That we kind of had a conversation because I thought about it and I was like, man, I wonder if Mike broke his streak, or if he was able to keep it going. And then you just randomly, I think you texted me about it. To tell me that you had broken your streak, and you were like, man, blah blah. You were a little angry about it when you texted me.
I was a little upset, but I think I said something about, it's done already. We just move on or something like that. Cause
it's not the end of the world. So,
it's not the end of the world. Yeah. So I am now at a, I don't know, 10 or no, probably 13-day streak now. And so I am working my way back up there now. 114 is my longest streak. The one prior to that was, and it had a significant value, more than the value of my losing my streak this time, because the last time my streak ended on like March 21st, 2020. So I think everyone knows probably why my streak ended for that one. This one's just Michael forgot and don't know how I forgot it. So.
Yeah. But that is a thing that I think I have always appreciated about Todoist is that it has that it can bring. You don't have to use this first off for people. Like you can completely turn those features off. I think, but and you can also pause or something if you know that like, hey, I'm gonna be on vacation and I ain't doing crap. That's the whole purpose of the vacation.
Yep. You can mark days that you don't want to count towards your streak. You can add it to vacation. You can put it in vacation mode. Like there's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility. So like if you typically take the weekends off and things that you do around the house or may do around the house are not part of that, you can turn off Saturday and Sunday or whatever. So yeah, a lot of flexibility there. But I think the gamification of it a little bit psychologically probably works on a lot of people. I don't say it works on everybody. I'm not going to say it works on me all the time because my streak also broke during the week that Mike was at the CSUN. And it wasn't, again, it's just my lapses. Like I read Chad's email and not instantly, even though I put it in Todoist so I wouldn't forget to read the email. I forgot to check off the fact that I had read the email. And that's basically what happened to me when my streak broke. And I was like, oh, man, I wonder about Mike's streak. Because I've broken mine a couple of times like that. Like, it's not that I didn't do things that were on the list for that day to be done or that needed to be done, but I just forgot to check them off. And usually, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes Todoist is the nudge to remind me to do the thing, which is honestly more important to me than a streak. Because then I went and did the thing. The checking it off is just like, okay, that's satisfaction. But I also don't cheat, and Mike doesn't cheat. And what I mean by cheat is like, oh man, I didn't do anything today. Let me put on here something simple like take out the trash, and then I'll go take out the trash because it needs to go out anyway. And then I'll check it off, and then yay, my shit. No, nobody does that. We don't do that.
Oh, people do that. We don't.
We don't do that. Is what I said. Yeah, we don't do that. I didn't say it's not done. We don't do that because that's cheating.
I don't know if you know offhand, but I only know because I just looked and I have 7,331 completed tasks.
I don't know offhand what mine is. My phone is over there. But last I looked, I think I might have been getting close to like 2,000.
I like to do it. They offered me a free trial of their premium again. I didn't know you could do like a second free trial with iOS apps, but I have not taken them up on it.
They can do it if they choose to do it. That is a thing. Like because my trial, the reasons that I have always gone back every few years or so to OmniFocus and like I'm gonna take a look at this again is because they will have released another major version and then everybody's trial gets reset at that point. So there are ways to make that happen. Plus because I don't think your billing for them was going through the App Store anyway.
No, I don't think it was.
So
I think
they're
I
able to just
directly
apply that to your account. Yeah, I think we both did that. So yeah, I broke my streak. Me and Mike probably are roughly on the same number of days at this point because I haven't managed to break it since we had this conversation and I started back. So we'll see, which in some ways is good because sometimes it will be just not annoying. But, I will look at Mike's streak and I'll look at mine. It's like, man, I'm not sharing my number, man. It's like 3 days. Like, but Mike had a good streak. And I really did think about it where I was like, crap, I wonder if Mike broke his streak. And I was like, man. And I think I may have subconsciously broke mine just to,
just to relate, yeah, just in case.
Because I was like, man, he probably didn't think about it, and I know he ain't checking off stuff while he's at CSUN. He's got too much other stuff going. Unless he sat down and made a list of like, okay, I got to visit this place, this place, this place, and then
it's like you read my mind because that was in there. These are the exhibitors I want to go visit, so when we would visit them, I would check them off.
I mean, that's just useful stuff.
Yeah.
Me and Mike are gonna talk about his trip later too. Not today, but because one, I want to get some packing tips in there and things like that, and then we're going to work on a packing list that you can, if you're a Todoist user, you'll be able to import into your Todoist packing project. And if you're not a Todoist user, you can still look at the CSV file. We might figure out a different way of putting it so that you can look at it and then rebuild that in your own thing that you like. If you're using reminders or if you're using OmniFocus, whatever, to do, not to do is, what's that other one? That is, it feels really nice when you use it. Yes, things feel so great when you're using it, but man, it just don't
I want to use it. I really want to
I
use it. And
really
then I
wanna
go
use
add a
it.
task to it. And I'm like, I
hate
can't
you.
naturally speak to you.
I don't like you today. Like, go away. But now, on to Chad. Thanks for allowing us to take that little quick side note, because we did mean to talk about the whole Todoist debacle anyway. But now we're going to talk about Chad and what Chad's got going on. So, here's another thing just to be aware. Like, there are sometimes people may email us things and tell us stuff, and they say, oh, you can use my name, but obviously they don't want you to tell people their business about the thing. Chad did not specify this. I'm just putting that out there to say that, if you want to email us something and you have a question, but you don't want the circumstances of why you're asking the question that you may have shared with us to be spoken, like, be clear about that. I don't think Chad is going to care about what I'm about to tell people, because I think everybody that listens should celebrate with us and say congratulations to Chad, because he's closing on a house. Matter of fact, he's closed on the house at this point.
He closed on it, yeah.
On the 13th. So congrats, man. Like, that is a huge step. So Chad is now a homeowner. And Chad's question is one, he wanted to follow up, because we have not followed up, to talk about cameras that we were using. And I think we had a little side conversation before we were aware of Chad's question. But locks is also something else he has an idea for. So Mike had an idea. Neither one of us did this idea. Mike probably forgot about it. I just decided I felt it would be better to have a back and forth conversation. And the way I would like to try to approach this is start at the wide top of the funnel and then get down to, this is what I'm doing, or this is what I would do in your shoes, to give you the most general information we possibly can, just to help you get started, but then kind of filter down to a few specifics that may be unique or that you may want to consider. And for me, I would start there by saying, at the wide end of this, start with the ecosystem that you're in, or that you want to be in, when it comes to smart home things. Like, if you are a devout Amazon assistant user, some things are going to work better in that ecosystem than others, and you may want to factor that into, that should factor into your decisions. It doesn't mean you have to stick with stuff strictly in that ecosystem, but you want to factor in that as much as possible. At the moment, I am a HomeKit user. So a lot of the stuff that I have purchased over the years has been HomeKit compatible. Matter is supposed to make this less of a problem. We will eventually probably get there to where Matter does actually make this less of a problem or decision process. But if you've been paying attention at all to IKEA's rollout of their Matter stuff, that doesn't always go as
we're not there
as
yet.
you think it should. So I would say start with the ecosystem. Be aware that you can also extend your ecosystem regardless of what it is. I think in most cases with things like Home Assistant, wouldn't say you have to start with Home Assistant, but that is an option. Homey Pro is something that a friend of mine has been, telling me about here recently, because he's kind of switched over and settled on using that. He's still a HomeKit user, and most of his family is going to interact with the smart home things through HomeKit and Siri, but he's building on more capabilities or bringing other devices into that ecosystem using Homey. So there are options out there to extend capabilities and bring in devices that may not be directly supported or didn't build in support for the ecosystem that you're in. But I would say start with the ecosystem that you are in or that you want to be in, because you could be a person that's like, Alexa was great until it started. Amazon was great until it started trying to get me to buy stuff every time I told it to set a timer, and I don't like that so much. Right. So I think I may go to Google or Apple. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about setting off your Google products, because Google is the name of the company and it's the name of the thing. So, but we all know Alphabet is not the greatest at naming stuff.
Does Google actually, do you still say "Hey G" or do you say "Hey Gemini"? I don't know.
I actually don't know, because there is a device in my house. Well, it's not plugged up, but it's in the house that Mike sent. I think Mike actually sent this to Tia. He did not send it to me, because Tia really liked the Google Home Hub. And I think you had a updated version that you were not going to use anymore that should have gotten the Matter update. I'll follow up on that when I actually plug it in.
That would be interesting to have Gemini in your kitchen. Although I am saying, just saying, I have to share this. I've been playing with the Pixel more and more because there's some cool stuff going on Android, like always. And I said, I pressed and held the button and I said, call this person or call this number. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't call, but I can write an email for you if you'd like to send it to them.
That sounds about like the experience I had the other day with Siri. It's like, call. Well, I can say Nancy. Nobody knows that. Call Nancy. I'm sorry, you're going to have to put contact information in the phone for Nancy. Go to contact, scroll up the list a little bit so I can call this lady back because I'm pretty sure I know what she needs. And there's Nancy. Oh, I guess there is contact information in my phone for Nancy.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So we are a mixed household. We did not go into it with a specific ecosystem in mind. Ultimately, we wanted things to all be HomeKit compatible, and I think that's what's easiest for everyone else but me. And I say that because everyone else but me is perfectly happy with iOS and will always be on iOS and will try Android and end up back on iOS again. And I ultimately do too, but I will play with Android and I wanted things to let me be able to use them in Android. So, right now we're primarily HomeKit for our level bolt and the 2 light bulbs that never respond. And is that all of the homes? Oh, and the camera.
Your camera.
Yeah, we're using Eufy by Anchor, and their cameras go into the Apple Home security feature, which means that the video gets stored in my iCloud account. But what's cool about that, and I'm going to go check it when Damashe is talking about his setup, because we went in and I had Ben go in and label people's faces because that apparently is an option. And now I think it'll tell me the time that it saw someone and who that someone was. And I forgot to check before we started recording again. But, well, I didn't even check after Ben labeled them for me. So, but I can go to the home app and then go to security and, access the camera there. I can talk to people through the camera. We had a Eufy doorbell. And that was wired into the house, and our electrician friend, because I'm not playing with house electricity, and our electrician friend has been super busy, so he hasn't been able to, well, it's technically my sister-in-law's friend, but I'm claiming him, has been super busy, so he hasn't been able to come over. I bet if we were to offer him some money, then that might make him a little bit less busy, but he was doing it as a favor.
Electricians have been busy lately, though. I haven't noticed that. Like, there are certain categories of individuals who have just been busy. Yeah.
So
also, it's good to have an electrician friend.
Yes, it is. Even if he's borrowed.
I mean, listen, man. Like, I don't. It's great to have an electrician friend, even if you pay that person, and that's cool because like that is valuable skill. And like Mike, I don't dig playing with electricity, man, because I can't read voltages and I can end up on the other side of the room. So before I get to what I'm specifically using, the other thing that I would say think about when you're looking at equipment to use is think about yourself, like think about your family, your environment, what you're comfortable with. Because I'm going to say some things that, apply specifically to me, right? For example, the cameras that I currently use and the doorbell that I currently use are from Reolink, REO Link, Rio, like the movie with the birds. Link, REOLINK. One reason I specifically chose that brand is because I never want my camera footage in a cloud unless I specifically deliberately move it to a cloud. With the one exception being Apple's HomeKit Secure Video, because that is encrypted in your iCloud account. So Apple can't just go arbitrarily decide they want to go poke through your, footage. But there was no cameras out at the time that I was willing to pay. And this is, I started buying this stuff before we moved here to this house with the intent of setting it up. So the doorbell and all of that. The Eufy stuff wasn't out yet. The only HomeKit secure video supported stuff was from Logitech, I think, at the time. So Logitech Circle View, I think, might have been the doorbell. But anyway, it was stupidly expensive. And it also seemed to be a little janky. So, I wasn't going for that. But that is a thing to consider. Again, if you are an Amazon household or you prefer these things that integrate well with Amazon, obviously there's Ring. I'm just going to be upfront about it. I cannot, in good faith, just on principle, recommend anybody get a Ring doorbell or a Ring anything. But that is your personal preference. I'm not judging anybody that does it, except my sister, because she didn't listen. But I'm not judging anybody else that chooses to do that. I just can't recommend them on good faith. You can stop them from sending your data to Ring. I'm just not comfortable with their practices. That is my reason. I don't think they're bad devices. I actually think they're, on it objectively, I think Ring stuff is actually pretty good for what it is. I think in price-wise, comparative feature set and actual delivering on those features and abilities, I think Ring is not a bad deal. I just don't care for their data handling practices and where they seem to want to take their company. But again, that is a personal preference. That is not a comment on whether or not you should be using Amazon, Ring, etc. Blink is also another sub-brand of Amazon that will definitely integrate well with their stuff if that's the ecosystem that you're in. I want to say Steven or Sean from Double Tap has some Blink stuff.
Sean does, I think.
But for me, it was more important for local recording. So the setup that I actually have, I'll go through that setup now a little bit with the camera. So I do have the Level Lock Plus, or Pro, or so, I don't know. People need to figure out how to name their stuff, because it does make a difference. Like, the Level Lock Plus does this, but the Pro does that. And it's like, which one? I don't know what I'm buying. So I just bought the one that was on sale that worked with HomeKit. And I was like, all right, that's what I'm doing. I like the level locks. Mine has been a little janky. And when I say janky, it's like you'll open the door. So there's a feature where you can touch the outside of the lock. Once you've unlocked your door, went out, close your door, you can put your finger on just the outside of the deadbolt and it'll lock. Well, sometimes I guess the wind touches it too, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to lock. So there's things like that. But I like it. And one reason I like their locks specifically is because, first off, they're small, they're super easy to integrate. The battery life has been great so far for me. I think I asked Mike about his battery life before I bought one. But also, it just looks like a regular lock. Like, it already has a key. You can actually, here's a secret for people if you're interested, and especially if you buy all the way in on level for all your doors, you can have those locks rekeyed. So I already had, and they're using Schlage deadbolt locks on the outside. So I have a Schlage on a different door. And so when I bought the level, I did a little research, and that's how I found that out. So I took it down to a locksmith. I do not have a locksmith friend. I just went in and paid $4 or something for got a rekey me lock. But he was able to rekey it to the same key that I already had for a different door of the house that has a Schlage lock on the outside and has a Akara deadbolt lock on the inside. Now, Akara stuff is also very good. I do like their door locks. So I have a Akara lock on one door. The Akara is what they call a retrofit. So you take off just the back plate of your existing deadbolt and you put the Akara part over that and screw that in. Make sure you screw all of the screws in because it will work better. And that then operates your normal deadbolt. So now in Chad's case, Chad owns his house. Again, congratulations on that, man. That is an amazing step to take in life. So you have a lot more flexibility when you own a place versus when you're renting, I think. So we're renting the place we're in, which is one reason I looked at their car retrofit locks, because it's like, oh, I can just put that on. And I always change deadbolts and locks when I'm moving to a new place anyway, because I'm weird like that. But that being said, I also appreciate a lock on the outside looking like a lock. As opposed to looking like some super high-tech handprinty thing, and then people are like, oh, I wonder if I can hack this with Bluetooth. Because that's where my mind goes. My doorbell, like I said, is a Real Link doorbell that just mounts on the side. I ran the specific model that I have is the power over Ethernet version. So I have an Ethernet cable running around the edge of the top of the wall from where my router is over to that doorbell. That means it gets constant recording, and that is being recorded. It does have a micro SD card slot, which is another thing I liked about the Reolink stuff. I could have recordings there, but mine is also connected to a network video recorder, so that the footage is stored there. And I have that kind of trigger to record events, not just to record a constant stream of stuff, because that would dramatically fill up the hard drive. They do sell a wireless version of this that does not have to have Ethernet, just runs off, I think, a rechargeable battery. I'm not certain. Reolink's other cameras have a 360 camera, so it rotates and it pans and tilts and zooms and all of that on the other side of the house. So, but there are lots of options out there. Again, Akara is a brand that I like quite a bit. They have good locks. They have a nice, actually Akara is one where you can kind of put together your own security system with their stuff. Abode, I hear, has a good security system if you're thinking about securing, just a general security system. If you want to buy something that's kind of all together built out there. Mike, I don't know if you still have that security system, but
Simply
you were using, yeah.
No, we don't have it anymore. We stepped away from SimpliSafe because we went all in. Like, we got their security camera, we got their keypad, all the door fobs and the locks and everything. And the camera, we even had them replace it twice, kept going offline. And we're like, why do we even have a camera if it's offline all the time? Like, that defeats the entire purpose. And
Absolutely.
And SimpliSafe's response was, well, we'll replace it. We're like, you've already replaced it twice for us. We're just done. So that was us. And what I didn't like also about SimpliSafe, and I get it, but in order to get your footage from your camera and to be able to get access to that, you have to pay them their monthly fee. Now, you can pay them as low as $9 a month, but I don't like that because that means that I'm paying you to store data in your cloud and not in my cloud. And if it's being stored in my cloud, why am I paying you if all I want is camera footage? Like, I get that you have to pay for monitoring, but when I found out I had to pay to get access to our camera, that and the camera continuously going offline were the two straws that were like, yeah, we're just done with that. So then we started, and we were moving. So then we started looking into Anchor and Eufy, and I think we're pretty happy with it. Although I will say, if your router supports it and it's feasible, Chad, go with Ethernet PoE. The reason I say that is I was looking to see if I can get access to the camera footage, and home is all locked up because apparently our camera's dead. So now I got to go pull the camera down at 8:30 at night to plug it into a micro USB charger, and plug it in and charge it for, probably overnight, which again defeats the purpose of having a camera if it's offline. Now, that being said, however, we have two cameras, and we really should hook up the other one, or at least like connect it so we can swap it out when one is dead. Just haven't done it yet. So, but get PoE if you can.
That's going to be my next thing, because Chad owns his house. Like, and this could be a more long-term project, but it could be what your ultimate plan would be. And there's several cameras besides Reolinks that support power over Ethernet. But you do, because you own the house, like, in time, you may not want to start off doing this, but at some point you could run Ethernet and have it actually going through your walls and all of that, so it's not unsightly going around the top of your ceiling where somebody might look up and notice it. I did buy a white cable, by the way, to kind of match the off-white of the wall, so maybe people won't see it. But that is definitely an option or a way to go, is where I would go. So if I owned my house, or when I own a house, I am going to have Ethernet everywhere. Like, it's going to be Ethernet. I'm going to buy all the copper. Like, when you start noticing a run on Ethernet, it's probably because Damashe bought a house. But I like Ethernet. I like for things to be wired in. Some other options, though, whether, for Chad's specific case, if he doesn't want to do all of that, or he's like, I can't do that right now, man. It's like prohibitively expensive to rip out the walls and run the Ethernet cable through it. For anybody considering doing this, if you're doing this now or any point in the short-term future, just buy Cat 7 cable. Save yourself the headache of wanting to rip it out again in 10 years to upgrade your cables. It's by Cat 7. You'll be fine as far as whatever internet speeds appear in the future. But one of the real link camera that I have that can be mounted, it also has like a floodlight with it as well. And it's two-way talk, so you can get some motion detected in the backyard at 12:30, and you can just pick up your phone and be like, "Hey, the hell are you doing back there?" And then the raccoon's like, "Screw you, buddy." I'm like, "Oh, Mr. Raccoon, all right, I'm going back to bed because I ain't fighting you." But this camera, and there are other cameras out here that have this, and this could also be something, Mike, that you might want to look at to see if potentially you could retrofit this in. But this camera shipped with, and I could have bought it separately, or you can buy them separately, a solar panel. Because this is a battery powered camera. It's not an Ethernet, because I wasn't going to run that much Ethernet cable down the house. So this is a battery powered camera. It can be recharged, or you can plug in the solar panel, USB-C, USB-C, not micro, and put that solar panel, the cable that it comes with is like stupid long. Like it is probably potentially maybe 20 feet.
Wow.
I mean, I'm guessing like it might actually be 10, but I know it's at least 10. Like it's 10 or more. So you can put that somewhere where you get decent sun, and that will keep the battery charged and functioning. And again, there are several camera models besides Reolink that offer this. I would imagine that with a lot of the cameras as well, that there are ways to retrofit that in, because as long as it's providing the right voltage or whatever to the camera that you would need to charge it, then it will be charged. So that's also an option if you don't want to run or cannot run Ethernet everywhere to have your cameras hardwired in. One advantage to that for people curious is not just that you have a potentially more stable connection, because some Wi-Fi is really stable, but you have the ability to have a constant stream, whereas a lot of cameras, and it's just, again, that comes down to what your preference is and what you would like. But with most battery powered cameras, recording is only going to be triggered when motion or whatever is detected, right? When some action, when some event happens, then you get recordings. If you live in a situation where you want more permanent recordings, or if you're one of those people that just wants to, record nature, there's other reasons to have a constant recording. Most plug-in powered or power over Ethernet powered cameras will allow a constant stream to be recorded, provided you have the storage.
And that's, I think, the extent of what we are using. It's the extent of what I'm using. We have
that's
the
all I
level
got
bolt.
at the moment.
I'm not happy with the level bolt and might upgrade that / change it. And the reason I'm not happy with it is we have 2 Apple TVs in the home. We have 3 home pods. Well, 2 home pods and a HomePod mini. And for some reason, that damn level bolt often will lose connection / stop responding. And up for a long time, I used to have to jump over a board to get to our backyard and hope that no one locked the sliding door so I could open the sliding door and get into the house, or call Ben and say, "Hey, come let me in." And Damashe made a comment the other day. He's like, "I never leave the house without my keys." I'm like, yeah, well, I've become too dependent on the smart lock. So for me, I can't for $250, can't recommend the level bolt as much as I did when I first got it and thought it was kind of cool. I do like the fact that it just goes in the door and you can keep using your same keys for your lock and everything. But that's
so you didn't have to replace your whole deadbolt assembly?
No, we just had to. Well, we had to replace the innards.
Yeah, like
like the bolt on the inside of the deadbolt.
Yeah.
I guess maybe we don't. I should ask Mallory if we are using our same keys or if we have to use the keys that it came with. I don't remember.
Yeah, because I would be curious if that might.
Did you have to use new keys with yours?
I would have, except I took mine to be keyed to match an existing key I already had. But otherwise, yes, I would have had to use new keys.
Maybe
that came with it.
I don't remember. Huh. Anyways, follow up.
Also, I would be interested in which model you have, and I'm being serious here because
Yeah.
I think that could make a difference.
Because you don't
It
have
is
that
an
issue,
expense.
or
I don't have that disconnection issue now.
okay.
Generally, but it is a little finicky. I will also say that. And for the price, like the version that I bought is $329 normally. I think. I would personally, at this point, if it were me, and if I hadn't just bought this level boat, I would have already bought one of these. A car's retrofit locks are nice. That would be the don't get me the line. I will find them and make sure I mention them in the next episode, which model I originally bought of a cars. And that one came with a keypad that can go on the outside of your door, so you can use your fingerprint or a code to unlock the door. You can set up, access codes for other people that are not in your home. So that's pretty cool. You also can buy fobs. I did not buy any of those. That's the retrofit lock I have. I want to say they have a new one that has just come out that was announced at CES that is shipping now, I believe. That is home key. Well, actually, this one is home key compatible with the thing. I think this is a full deadbolt. But anyway, a car stuff I like a lot. I really like a car stuff a lot. It is affordable. It works. Like, I've not really had any issues with the Acara devices that I've bought, except for the M3 hub, which is one of their hubs that you can use. And that's only because I knocked it off the top of the printer that was sitting on and it hit a concrete floor and shattered. So I bought another one.
I mean, that wasn't its issue. That was a Damashe issue.
Exactly. But the thing is, like, I instantly would have bought another one. Like, I haven't plugged it in yet, but I did go buy another one, like, instantly, because that was a part of me building out a security system. Some other stuff that a car sells that works well, provided you have the hub, and things could be changing with them as far as the hubs go a little bit too, as Matter rolls out a little bit more. But they have door and window sensors, which work very well. And one thing that I kind of miss, I don't miss the song that Lincoln picked for the front door. Like, I'm glad that went away. And I've kind of been waiting to put the new hub back in place so I can pick a different sound, and he won't be like, what happened to that? Because it took forever to play. But you can set up a nice little door chime or self-recorded thing, so when doors are open or windows are open, you get notified. It has alarm capability. You can arm it when you're leaving, which means different things can happen. Like, you can wire all that stuff up. The one thing I don't like about it, but I think this is just a thing that we're all going to have to deal with for a while when it comes to smart home stuff, is there are certain features that have to be done inside of the Acara app, which is not the best app in the world. Of course, there's always a downside, right? But I feel like this is the case with a lot of smart home stuff, where you still end up with the manufacturer's app on your device for some reason to do a thing. But the car is pretty affordable across the board with their stuff. The smart lights that I have are Linkkind. Are mostly what I have, although I do have quite a few mirrors bulbs on the outside. I was a big Mirrors fan for a while. Their power strip still is great. Their smart power strip is still great. Their outside floodlights I put up are really janky. I don't know if it's an internet problem, although, I don't have a problem using the internet outside. So I don't know what their problem is. That's another thing to consider, is where do you want to deploy smart bulbs? I am very interested now, and if I were in a position to start buying up a whole bunch of replacement light bulbs, I would be more interested in the current, because they have gotten a little cheaper. Well, they've gotten a lot cheaper. The current, it's not Logitech. Lights, Mike.
Hue.
Thank you. There you go. Hue. Hue's new lights are interesting because, one, again, the prices come down significantly, like a lot, like it makes a difference. But they're also building in, if you buy their hub, which this would be worth me getting another hub and hanging it off my stupid thing. They will have they have motion detection in the lights. So then you can set up automations like, when no motion is detected in this room, or for, 30 minutes, turn the lights off, right? Because we all know how kids are. We also know how spouses and such can be sometimes too, where they just don't turn lights off when they're not going to be in a room for a long time. Like, I don't get it. Just, burning electrons for no reason. We already got AI doing that. Listen, I'm contributing enough to the economic, to the environmental problems. Like, just turn off the lights so that I feel better about my cloud usage, please. Like, that's all I'm asking for. But you can set up a lot of cool automations with those, if that's not a path you want to go down, or if you're already invested. And we're answering Chad's question, but I'm also trying to make this kind of generally apply for anybody curious. If you're already in a different ecosystem, or you don't want to buy into Hue or whatever, again, a car stuff is interesting. They have several motion detectors. I actually have a motion detector from a car above my garage door. So, and it is kind of watching the driveway. So out to a certain distance, if motion is detected after, and I have it set up so that it's after dark. And I don't remember exactly how I did that. I think I may have just put in an arbitrary time. I don't remember. But if motion is detected, it'll trigger. Now it just triggers the Maris light bulbs that are directly above the garage. It does not trigger the floodlights that are on the corner of the garage that point toward the street, because they just decide they don't want to work. But that is what it was supposed to do, is trigger that. And then another motion detector that I bought to go on the other side of the house that was meant to trigger the floodlights, until I realized the floodlights are very finicky, and so I haven't set that part up. But those are things that you can do with some of the Maris gear, and again, it's very inexpensive in my opinion compared to other things that I've looked at, and it's solid. Like, it does work. Another piece of advice I would give anybody that is investing into smart home stuff, get some get some water detector sensors. A car makes them. This is not a car sponsored show. I mean, if they want to talk to us, we're listening. But there's another brand, and I cannot think of the name of it at the moment. That I'm probably actually going to invest in for those, because they use a slightly different technology that is a bit longer range. But invest in leak detectors, water sensors that will send you notifications when water is detected. It can say, and Chad, especially for you and anybody else that owns their home, when you own your house, there's just no maintenance person to call, right? You are the landlord. So when stuff breaks, you got to be the person that takes care of shelling out the money to fix it. So investing into a system that can detect water being where water should not be very early can save you a lot of money in the long run. There are devices that I don't know enough about to make a recommendation on buying one specifically, and there's a lot of research you will have to do to check your pipes that can shut off the water at the valve if something is if water is detected somewhere that it should not be. I think about this for people who live in areas where it's a normal enough thing to have water pipes burst due to, extreme temperature drops or whatever, that you might want to invest in something like that. Research those things, for sure. But I think little things like that are actually more important than the cool little automations of like, when motion is detected in the hallway after 10 o'clock, turn the bathroom lights to 10% so it doesn't blind the person that's trying to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. That's a cool thing to do. No, I don't have that working at the moment, because, reasons. Mostly because people still flip light bulbs. Think about that too. Like that I think is another thing. When you start looking at smart bulbs, either everybody in your family needs to be completely bought into this whole smart home thing, and that they're going to have to talk to their device or tap their screen, or if you're smart and you do like me, maybe get a few of these little smart buttons that you can put around that they can press to toggle the lights. Chad being in the situation he's in, again, owning a home, a lot more flexibility what you do long term there. You can actually replace your light switches with smart switches, so that they're toggling they're using the smart home thing to control your lights versus actually flipping a light switch on and off that cuts the power. Because that's what causes a lot of smart lights to go weird and not respond, is somebody flipped the light switch off at some point, and when you flipped it back on, they're now in a stupid state and don't know how to do anything.
Yep.
This is a consistent issue with a lot of bulbs. The Linkine bulbs that I mentioned, and I'll try to find a link to get in the show notes. Those don't seem to be as affected by that issue as other bulbs. I still prefer just leave the light switches alone and use smart things.
Switches.
Yeah, don't touch the switches, man. Listen, I thought about putting tape over my switch. Man, my mother came here and went to flipping lights, and I'm like, oh man, now you don't screwed up the whole thing. Now I can't turn that light on that you were trying to turn on because you turned off the power to it. Man, see, stop touching stuff. This is a high-tech house. You don't flip switches. You talk to the air.
Talk to the air.
Hey, turn on the such and such room light. And it's like, see, how it works. But those lights over there, they ain't coming back on ever.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. You already done broke them.
You done broke them. But hopefully this helps. I'm kind of in agreement with Mike though about the level bolt. I like it. I think it has great potential. It has been a little iffy enough to me, especially at over $300 for the current model that I have. Like, a car still kind of is the best option that I'm familiar with, and I could, recommend to people and say you're not going to have issues. I can't speak about anybody else's because I haven't used them, and I don't know anybody else that has them. Don't buy the U-Tech U-Bolt, though. It's a very cool looking lock. That thing cost me nothing but problems. Well, tell you what not to buy.
Let us know if you are listening and you have a smart lock or something that you think we should share on the show, and we'll be happy to share it with people. Before Damashe wraps it up, because that's how we do it, is we hand it over to him. We hand it over to him while Michael goes and looks and makes sure he knows what episode we're on. I think I know.
156, man.
It is. Okay. I was thinking it was 156, but I'm like, I better go double check that. I am doing some initial research on a fun project that hopefully I would say by end of April, early May, likely end of April, we'll have some more details about. So stay tuned and check out Mastodon because I'll share information over there. But it's coming together, Damashe, and in better ways than I thought it would. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know, man. We talked about a lot of our projects.
New show stuff.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, we're actually planning it.
That is excellent. Excellent. So, all right, folks, we want to thank everybody for listening. We appreciate you. As I mentioned earlier, you can send us feedback. One way you can do that is email. You can send it to feedback@technicallyworking.show. That's what Chad did. And just for people who may be new, because we're still climbing. We didn't do that thing. We'll do it next week. Look at the numbers. But we are steadily growing the show consistently. So we want to thank everybody who listens. Shout out to supporter number one because, you were there first. We appreciate the support from everybody in the tip jar. You can do a recurring tip where we just charge your card every month. And we appreciate those of you who are able to do that. Or you can do a one-time tip if you just like, I don't know, I had a little bit, the light bill was a little cheaper this month than I thought it was going to be. I really appreciate the content those guys are making. I'm going to give them a, $5 tip or whatever you can afford. We appreciate those one-time tips as well. You can find information out about how to do that by going to technicallyworking.show. And there is a support us link on that page. And that will take you to the tip jar, which is a reminder for me that I should write down to make sure I don't break that. I feel like I put that on the page somewhere now. Anyway, it's me musing out loud about the website. That is coming. It is going to get here.
You do have that on the stage.
Oh, good deal. Okay. Yep. Whew. All right. Not as old as I thought I was. At least I don't forget as much as I think I do. I also don't remember as much as I think I do either. So, there's a problem when you start getting old. Mastodon, as Mike said.
Right there in the menu bar.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyways, Mastodon.
I'm just thinking like, oh man, I forgot I built the whole menu.
I was clicking the link to make sure it went to the right place. So, there's that too. Yeah.
So, as Mike said, you can keep up with things that he's doing on Mastodon. He's Payown, Payown at dragonscave.space. You can follow me. I'm Damashe, Damashe at technically.social. And you can follow the bot who's been on a break for some reason. I don't know what this bot is doing, man. But it'll follow the bot, because the bot is going to be probably one of the more interesting follows this year. TW at technically.social is where you can follow that bot. And hopefully it doesn't still have attitude when it starts back posting.
It had another attitude when it saw what we posted for last week's episode. So people will have to go check that out to know what we're talking about.
And I think you can go to just Technically Social and see the posts.
You can go to technically.social/@TW for sure, and that'll let you view the post. But you might be able to go to technically.social and find the user there. That I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, if you're on Mastodon, you can use the hashtag technically working. We appreciate you capitalizing the T in the W, because it looks good and the screen readers pronounce it right. As I said, feedback at technicallyworking.show is where your email can go. We appreciate every one of you that listens. Thank you so much. Tell a friend about it if you think they would enjoy the content. Don't hesitate to send us a question. Listen, if you email us and you don't, follow the general rules of like, yes, you can use my name. No, don't use my name, whatever. We're just not going to use your name. We'll talk about your, question or suggestion or whatnot. Or feedback, but we just won't mention your name. So don't be afraid to send an email. You don't have to do all of the stuff right. We just won't, Mike just won't shout you out 20 times in the first 5 minutes of us discussing your topic.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks everybody for listening. This has been Technically Working episode number
156, according to Damashe, because I did not cross-check it.
I'm pretty sure it's 156.
I'm pretty sure it's right, too.